Hello, I'm Natasha Hussain, and this is Newsfeed, your dose of what people are talking about online. There can be little doubt now that Donald Trump has barreled his way into being the Republican candidate for the U.S. presidential election. He has dominated the primaries, including Super Tuesday, winning 14 out of the 15 states up for grabs. President Joe Biden also looks to be a shoo-in for the Democrats. So barring a miracle, it'll be Trump versus Biden. The rematch is poised to be an election like no other. Biden is 81 and Trump 77, making them the oldest U.S. presidential nominees in history. Many voters who supported Joe Biden 4 years ago now feel like he is lacking the mental sharpness to lead. Plus, his response to Israel's attack on Gaza has cost him the support of many voters. Trump is also a divisive figure. He's made history as the first former U.S. president to be indicted in the nation's 234-year history, a record he's broken 3 more times since 2017. But Republicans, it seems, are very forgiving of Trump's misdemeanors and bizarre outbursts. It would seem the two political heavyweights now need to focus on wooing the younger voters. Andy tells us why.
Joe Biden is 81 years old, Donald Trump is 77, and together they represent the oldest presidential matchup in American history by far. And neither of them does very well with younger voters. Donald Trump in particular has always done poorly with college voters. And Joe Biden lately has been shedding younger voters and voters of color because of the war in Gaza. So what are these men going to do? Well, the Trump team has been sending out these fake AI-generated images of Trump surrounded by smiling young black people. Even his camp admits these are fake images, but they're doing it anyway, and they're getting a lot of criticism online. Some posters calling this at best creepy. As for Joe Biden, his camp has been relying more and more on TikTok to reach younger voters, but he's getting a lot of criticism for that as well. One poster on X pointing out that why is Joe Biden doing this on TikTok when he has forbade his own administration officials from using TikTok because of its association with China. And then there is the Taylor Swift angle. The hugely popular American pop star has a lot of influence on her fans. This week, she posted that anybody who is eligible to vote in these Super Tuesday primaries should do so, even though there are some restrictions, a lot of restrictions actually in some cases, on primary voting. And a while back, she just posted to her fans that they should at least register to vote in the general election when that comes up. And when she did that, there was a noticeable spike in voter registration all across the country. Now, back in 2020, Taylor Swift endorsed Joe Biden for president. She has not made any endorsements yet for this campaign, but the Biden camp would love to see her support them and attract those oh so important younger voters.
Taylor Swift as a political influencer. Is there no end to her reach? You know, they call it the Swift effect. It appears not, because on the other side of the world, her concerts are causing a diplomatic spat. Well, if you have friends in Southeast Asia, your social media feed may currently look like this. Yup, Swiftie fever has swept across the region as the pop star performs at 6 sold-out shows in Singapore. While the fans say it's certainly a night that they'll remember all too well, Singapore's neighbors seem to have some bad blood over the city-state exclusive rights to Swift's concerts in the region. Adam spills the sweet tea, excuse the Taylor Swift pun, from Singapore.
The Eras Tour has landed here in Singapore, and Swifties across Southeast Asia are rejoicing. This is the only place in the region to see her perform, and that has led to some very unhappy neighbours. It all started when the Thai Prime Minister claimed that Singapore had struck a deal with Taylor Swift to perform exclusively in Singapore and no other ASEAN countries. He even claimed the deal was worth 3 million Singapore dollars a show. Now, some people praised Singapore for this, saying it was a good bit of business and ensuring that fans would flock here from across Asia. Others thought it was a little bit more arrogant, and one lawmaker in the Philippines said this is not what good neighbours do. It soon all turned into a war of words, with Singapore's former permanent representative to the United Nations using his Facebook account to accuse other countries of sour grapes. He said, "I am not a fan of Taylor Swift, but many in Southeast Asia are fans, and our deal with her will be worth millions more than what was paid to secure exclusive rights." That's good business. Now, amidst all of this, Singapore was very keen to make one thing clear, that they haven't paid around 24 million Singapore dollars for Taylor Swift to perform here. Singapore Minister Edwin Tong told local media that the fee is nowhere as high as what was being reported, with Channel News Asia reporting that the figure is closer to 2 to 3 million US dollars in total for all 6 shows. The Singapore Prime Minister was even asked about it. Here's what he said.
Our agencies negotiated an arrangement with her to come to Singapore and perform, and to make Singapore her only stop in Southeast Asia. And there was a certain incentives provided to her, and so it has turned out to be a very successful arrangement. I don't see that as being unfriendly. Sometimes one country makes a deal, sometimes another country does.
So a deal was done. Taylor Swift continues to perform every night at the National Stadium, and Singapore now wants its neighbours to shake it off.
Shake it off indeed. And guess what? Elon Musk is no longer the world's richest person. After 9 months atop the Bloomberg Billionaires Index, Elon Musk has been eclipsed by Jeff Bezos. The Amazon founder hasn't topped the rich list since 2021, well, until Monday, that is, when Tesla shares tumbled more than 7%, pushing CEO Musk's net worth down to $198 billion. Over the course of the past year, he's lost $31 billion of his fortune, making Bezos the world's richest. Bezos' fortune is now $200 billion, growing by $23 billion in recent months. The wealth gap between Bezos and Musk was at one point $142 billion, but it's shrunk since then as Amazon and Tesla shares moved in opposite directions. But as the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Anti-poverty group Oxfam says the gap between the rich and poor has supercharged since the pandemic. Oxfam says the fortunes of the world's 5 richest people, that's Bezos, Musk, LVMH's Bernard Arnault, Oracle founder Larry Ellison, and investment guru Warren Buffett, have spiked 114% to $869 billion since 2020. And as the world's top 5 billionaires doubled their wealth, almost 5 billion people have become poorer. Oxfam's interim director had this scathing criticism of the alarming inequality at the World Economic Forum back in January.
I certainly feel angry. I would say having billionaires is a failure. Very often when we are here at the World Economic Forum, you end up celebrating billionaires. But I think it's a sign of failure that we have 800 million people, 10% of the global population, sleeping hungry. They do not have enough food to eat. 800 million people. And on the other hand, you have these billionaires with their private yachts, private jets, and a lifestyle which cannot even be understood.
On to some lighter news now. It's that thrilling time of year for movie buffs. The Oscars are upon us. As we eagerly await to see who will take home those coveted golden statues, there's one person who has burned the midnight oil to complete all her homework. Lara, our resident movie buff, has watched all the top nominees, so you don't have to ahead of this weekend's Academy Awards. She explains who should be walking away with the Oscars top gong.
It's that time of the year again. The Oscars are just around the corner, and I've got the inside scoop on who might be taking home those golden statues. So I watched all the top nominees for you. Yes, every single one of them. While I love the Elementals, this category is a no-brainer for me. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse swung into my heart and mind like a web-slinging champ.
He wants to go out into the world and do great big things.
There was kind of a lull at the theater last summer during the actors and writers' strikes, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse got us all out of it. So it deserves the win, hands down. Now, you know what the Academy loves, a splash of black and white.
Yo no quiero vivir 250 años más.
¿Por qué?
Porque me trataron de ladrón.
So how long do we have to do this for?
Well, we need to build up a very strong connection.
Killers of the Flower Moon and Poor Things. Both are visual feasts. But my money is on Oppenheimer. It's a masterpiece that's hard to beat. Now, this is a tough one. Just kidding. We pretty much know who's going to win this one. Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer is the talk of the town. He's on an undefeated winning streak in this category so far.
Unlike my fellow nominees, I will never grow tired from the sound of my own voice.
Not that I'm getting tired of hearing him or anything, but I've got a soft spot for Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things. He delivered an unforgettable performance that also deserves a standing ovation. Racking up nearly every major prize this award season doesn't necessarily mean Oscar is also in the bag. But come on! Divine Joy Randolph.
Rich and popular combination around here.
I find her performance heartwarming and genuine. The way she infuses humanity and depth into the character Mary can't be overstated. Definitely the winner in this category. Now, any of these 5 could easily win the award. Well, maybe not Bradley Cooper. Cillian Murphy's performance in Oppenheimer is a standout. I think both critics and the audience can see how he did the heavy lifting. He was the one who was holding the 3-hour-long movie together and somehow making it feel like it wasn't that long. After snatching all the other awards, there is no doubt that he will get the Oscar as well. Now this is the most exciting and interesting category because it is such a close race. I don't think any other performance, male or female, lead or supporting, comes close to what Emma Stone has accomplished in Poor Things. But here's the twist. She is just 35 and the only one who has won an Oscar in this category before. Instead, I have a feeling that history is about to be made.
What color would you say that is?
My color.
Lily Gladstone to be the first Native American performer to win Best Actress. Gladstone is the broken heart and bruised soul of the film. The way she uses her facial expressions and eyes is a masterclass in acting. Now, in the director's chair, wow, what a lineup! Did Greta Gerwig deserve to be here as well? No comment. I'm a huge Nolan fan and I think he should have gotten an Oscar years ago. Although I'm happy that he's finally getting the love and attention that he deserves, I personally like Poor Things a bit more than Oppenheimer. It is such a beautiful piece of art, all thanks to director Yorgos Lanthimos. Poor Things, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Anatomy of a Fall are strong contenders. But Oppenheimer is the frontrunner, and spoiler alert, I think that's going to win the award. I'll just cross my fingers for a surprise win in this category. Now, that's all for now. Tune in after the 96th Academy Awards. We'll see if my predictions were on point.
Well, I have an impossible amount of movies to catch up on before the Oscars. Anyway, that's our show. Find our latest stuff on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.